I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank all my co-hosts, and I want to tell you guys good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because somewhere around the world it is truly what time it is. And if you heard someone saying that stick, they got it from me. Now, we're going to do a backtrack. This is just my follow-up on Lubbock County here in Texas and the legislation that is currently taking place. Local Texas lawmakers officially placed marijuana decriminalization initiative on Lubbock's May 2024 ballot. Lawmakers in Lubbock, Texas, has officially approved a resolution to put a local marijuana decriminalization initiative on the ballot next spring after declining to enact on the reform legislatively. The Lubbock City Council voted Tuesday to schedule a special election on the issue for May 4th, 2024. This comes 1 month after legislators unanimously rejected the decriminalization proposal that was put on the agenda after activists submitted enough signatures to force its consideration. The committee behind the marijuana initiative first filed paperwork for the Freedom Act Lubbock ordinance with the city secretary in August. After activists turned in more than 10,000 signatures, officials confirmed that the campaign submitted enough petitions to move ahead in the process earlier this month. They ain't respected. Local lawmakers in Lubbock, which is Texas' 10th largest city by population. It has a considerable amount of people there. Last I checked, it was 310,369 people there. 30 days, had 30 days to hold a hearing to make a decision as to whether they would enact decriminalization. They did so in November, opting to defeat it and put the issue to the voters instead. 1 day before the vote to schedule the May 2024 cannabis election, Adam Hernandez, communications chair for the group Lubbock's Compact, which helped lead the effort to collect signatures for decriminalization, announced his bid for mayor of Lubbock. Under the committee's proposal, local police would be prohibited from making arrests or citations to adults in possession of up to 4 ounces of cannabis unless there's a binding state or federal court order against the policy. If that does happen, the initiative says the city's policy shall be to make enforcement a Class A and Class B misdemeanor marijuana possession. It lowers enforcement priority. The text of measure says that it's meant to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the people of Lubbock. Enacting the reform is in the interest of carefully allocating scarce city resources, reducing the risk of discriminatory enforcement practices, and focusing city resources on the highest priority public safety concerns. Lubbock would be the second largest city by population in the state to enact the reform. It would join the cities including Austin, Delton, England, Hacker Heights, Killing, and San Marcos that were largely led by Ground Game, Texas. The organization recently released a report that looked at the impact of those similar marijuana, reform efforts. It found that the measures will keep hundreds of people out of jail, even as they have led to blowback from law enforcement in some cities. The initiatives have also driven voter turnout by being on the ballot, the report said. Another decriminalization measure that went before voters in San Antonio in May was overwhelmingly defeated. But that proposal also introduced provisions to prevent enforcement of abortion restrictions. Shortly after voters in Hacker Heights approved the measure, the city council overturned the ordinance over concerns that it conflicted with state law. But activists collected signatures for another initiative and successfully repealed the repeal in May. The Kaleen Council temporarily paused implementation of its local voter-approved ordinances, arguing that there were legal concerns that lawmakers need to sort through before giving it their approval, which they eventually did. But in April, Bell County filed a lawsuit challenging the policy. At the state level, this session, the Texas House of Representatives passed a series of bills to decriminalize marijuana, facilitate expungements, and allow chronic pain patients to access medical cannabis as an opioid alternative, but they ultimately stalled out in the Senate, which has been a theme for cannabis reform measures in the conservative legislature over several sessions. The House passed similar cannabis decriminalization proposals during the past two legislative sessions in 2021 and 2019. Separately, a Texas Democratic senator brought the issue of marijuana legalization to the Senate floor earlier in May, seeking to attach an unrelated resolution, an amendment that wouldn't have allowed Texans to vote on ending prohibition at the ballot box. But the symbolic proposal was ultimately shut down. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Republican, agreed to another member's point of order, deeming the cannabis amendment not germane to the border legislation. Nearly 3 in 4 Texans vote 72% support decriminalization. Support decriminalizing marijuana. According to a University of Texas Politics Project poll last year, more than half, 55%, meanwhile said they're in favor of broader legislation. 17% said it shouldn't be legal at all. 17% sucks. In March, the same institutional summary showed that a majority of Texas voters feel that the state's marijuana laws should be less strict. And I believe that is it. Well, my co-host, I'm going to give my 2 cents and then I'm going to let my co-host have at it. I personally feel like this is where Republicans here are dropping the ball. And I believe that it isn't about the people or protecting people or safety. I've never known anyone to get high on marijuana and just go kill a bunch of people. I believe that this is about the criminal industrial complex and about putting bodies needlessly inside of prisons so you can have cheap prison labor done. So Corecraft and the other people who are working at the behest of our government can have cheap prison labor and pay people 10 cents an hour for 8 hours a day. To do work they would have to be paid $22 or 25 hours an hour if they were free people. This isn't about trying to keep people safe. This isn't about, if they told you 55%, more than half, over half of the population of Texas would want it to be legalized in some way, shape, or form. This means it's not about the voters. It means it's about money that they get, and the only money they get from this is by locking people up. They're not getting money from selling marijuana, or they would sell marijuana and allow it to be sold. They're getting money from locking people up. They're allowing police officers to say that they smell marijuana in your car, and this gives them enough reason to pull you out your car illegally. So as long as you fit a description or something that they're told they need to look for, or something that they're programmed to think that this is what a criminal looks like, then this gives them the open air opportunity to even lie and say they smell marijuana in your car, hit a marijuana in your car so they can go in your car and illegally search your car, illegally pull you out your car and search you. Don't be sleep at the wheel, you guys, especially my fellow Texans here in Texas. I know when you're in Texas, you do Texas, but eventually they're going to have to do Texas because the people will respond. Over 55% of the people said make it legal.
Yeah.
Is there, yeah, this is from everybody I've talked to in Texas, they say like Greg Abbott don't run the state, it's Dan Patrick.
Yep.
It's all Dan Patrick against all of this. I think, you know, as we've seen in other Republican-run states, man, you got to hit them with both the medical stories that hit home to them, whether it's a close relative or something. They have to feel it. They have to. That's the only way to get them to empathize on this on the medical side, and then you know, it hit them hard on the economical side, man. Those are things that we've seen work, you know, with them, but it's an uphill battle for Texas, man. I feel real bad for the folks in Texas that they got to go get their gas station Delta 8 packs that are totally unregulated. That's the only way that they can get it. And I just really hope that this passes. Big shout out to Lubbock. Good luck on this one.
Yeah, and shout
out to Leah Patrick in the comments too in the chat. She said 2 to 4 ounces is not enough. Shout out to Leah Patrick in the chat. You're right, It's not enough.
Well, also what she also said in the chat is they used the word spasticity instead of using the word pain. And that is a very big distinction as far as qualifying conditions.
Words matter.
Yes. Yes.
Words matter.
So shout out to Leah watching from the great state of Texas. Oh, yeah.
Great purple state of Texas.
It's a red state.
The problem is
No, Texas is red.
Yes.
The hell, Rico? Don't listen. California, though, now that's purple, Rico.
Clip that. Clip that.
That's purple. California is really, really purple. California is Barney, I love you, you love me, purple.
Oh, boy.
And then green in the middle.
California's a deep hue of blue, but it's just a very big NIMBY state. You know,
I will be in California next week with Dr. Dope. So hopefully we could get something done. Maybe we could talk to some of the viewers that's in California, and maybe we can have a meetup or something like that too and have a smoke out session. We'll go to Jason Beck's mansion.
Yes.
We'll go to Chris Brown's mansion.
We could do that too.
One of the mansions.
We could do that.
we should have it at French Laundry with
Oh, that would be good.
With Gavin Newsom.
With
Let's go to
Gavin. Yes. Yes.
let's go pay $12,000 for a plate on Gavin. Because, he took the money from all the Californians.
Oh, you guys are.
get some
you guys,
tents
you guys
sent
are
out by
funny.
Troy from the great state of Ohio.